Hello, yes, it's the old git here, back again to upset you all or not upset you all. Um, as you all know, the reason I'm the old git because I moan a lot, and I moan a lot about what's going on in the world, particularly the UK, where I used to live. Of course, I don't now. What day is it today? It is Sunday, I think. Yeah, the third, 16th of the third, 2025. Now, a little bit of a gap between the last video and this one because I've been studying something, and I've decided that I've got to go a little bit, uh, or live a little bit dangerous, shall we say, because what I'm about to talk about is quite delicate, and but I'm not going to say or do anything that already isn't available on the social media. It's going out in more forms and many ways and much more that I am actually going to show you today. Now, um, the trouble is that I have a lot of friends who are Muslim, and they are people who came in the late 50s and 60s, and they came for a better life, and they got it. And in the beginning, it was all good, and harmony started to gel. They started to take part in various things, and a lot of the people uh, they keep to their religion, but they broke out and they sort of joined in Western society to an extent to which they were allowed to do. But then, as these people were settling down, what followed them was the establishment of lots of mosques, and with that, it brought the radical preachers. Now they'd just come from a country where they were probably strictly controlled by the Islamic law and the Islamic religion and Sharia law as they have in Muslim countries, and all of a sudden you get these preachers on planes coming over, and they're going to start to do what they always do, disrupt and cause problems because they believe, and they honestly believe that they're superior to everybody and that Islam is got to take over the world. I think, and you know what? I think this is a point that I've been trying to make. I think our leaders, our esteemed Stasi government, who put in the two-tier um, laws for freedom of speech, which they're clamping down on, but it's only freedom of speech for white people, or for Hindu people, or for Sikh people, but not for the people who speak from Islamist point of view, an extremist point of view, because they're all over the place. And I haven't seen anybody get arrested. Now, I've trawled this last week through hundreds, literally hundreds, of people shouting they want Sharia law, they want to destroy the kafir, we want to go in their homes and take them over, and they'll pay jizya, which is if you pay that and you're a non-Muslim, you can live. If not, they'll kill you, or you can convert. Now, it's not just in the UK; it's all over Europe and goes on far beyond. I mean, I don't see the mainstream police, the mainstream media talking about what's going on in, for example, Bangladesh, where the Muslims are going into Hindus' homes, they're killing Hindus and raping Hindu women, and this is going on in Bangladesh. Not much about that, is there? But also lots of other things that are going on. But I'm particularly worried about how the foothold now is here. Now, I'm going to talk about one group that there's lots of information about, one particular, people that come from Pakistan, which I know well, because a lot of my friends are from Pakistan. Now, some of my younger friends who know me well, they know I'm not a racist person, they know that. They have stopped being my friend because my views are that everybody should join in, like we all did, like everybody else does. You know, if people come and you assimilate, you can keep your religion. I don't care what you are. You could be a bloody Jedi for all I care. I don't care. But what I do care is when society is being forced to conform to something that doesn't belong in this country, and that is, I think, the radical Islam. Now, So we'll talk about Pakistan for a bit. So first of all, let's just have a look at some figures. Now, these figures, I've tried to get these a lot from uh, from different sources, and I think these are reasonably correct. And what it's saying is, if you see there, we've got the Mayor of London Muslim, Mayor of Birmingham Muslim. I don't know if this has changed since these were released because the government are very reluctant to release these figures. Mayor of Blackburn Muslim, Sheffield Muslim, Oxford Muslim, Luton Muslim, Oldham Muslim, Rochdale Muslim, and it's saying that there's now over 3,000 mosques in the UK with 130 Sharia courts. Now, the last figure I saw, that was less. I saw there was about 50 Sharia courts. There's only one law, and that's the law of the land that we live in, but it's been manipulated now to favour this, but not just Pakistanis, but Muslim groups, or shall we say Islamists, radical Islamists, who are forcing their way onto not just us, but the people, the Muslims themselves, because they're afraid of them. They'll conform and do as they're told, because they'll put the fear of Allah into them. And I know that's true as well, because as I said, a lot of my Muslim friends have explained how it works. You know, they say things like, oh, well, you know, when you die, if you're not going to be a good Muslim, well, we won't bury you in a Muslim grave, you know, or we won't accept your children, or, you know, if you marry outside, you'll be ostracized, your family won't speak to you, things like this. And it's particularly strong with how they sort of keep control of their women. Now, Muslims only no-go areas across the UK. Now, there is quite a few of them now. And, you know, in East London, at certain times of the day, if you go over there, I mean, if you've got a beer can, you shouldn't be drinking in the street anyway, but if you're drinking in the street, or a girl with a miniskirt, I've known they've been spit on, and people spat on them and told them to go away, and this is our part. And I heard a guy in one of the videos, which I'm not going to show, was a butcher in Luton coming out and says, Luton is ours now. Luton belongs to us. He's arguing with some woman who's a Christian woman who's saying, no, it's, you know, it's not, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it's not right that they should say it's ours, it's everybody's. So it's also said that 78% of Muslim women don't work. Now, I know it's a high percentage, and the last figures I got off one of the government sites was 60%. 68%, sorry, and not 78% that don't work. And a lot of them get housing benefits because their husbands generally claim not to live with them. Okay, Muslim men, according to, and this again a bit high because on another government form I saw that 50% of Muslim men don't work and get free housing benefits. This one I'm not sure about because I don't think this is true at all. I think they're much like us in the West, and I think their birth rate is going down just the same as everybody else's because even on benefits or whatever it is, you can't afford to have too many kids. But it says Muslims have 6 to 8 children. I don't believe that, to be honest. I believe that it's less now. Maybe in the beginning when it came, because big families in Pakistan, for example, they had to have, because if children died, they need them to, you know, they grew, they need them to support the family. And now all schools are only serving halal meat. That's not true, but it is true that lots of schools are serving halal meat. And that's without consultation of the children who are non-Muslim that go to those schools. Now, the important point is that this last point, all this is achieved by about 4 million Muslims out of 60. It was about 68 million people now. 4 million Muslims get more attention than any other faction in the UK. Now, again, if you start talking or putting them down, which I'm not, because Islamic people Muslims who follow their religion, fine, that's good, but they don't have to change this country to suit them. They either change to suit us or go and live somewhere where their views are taken more seriously and they can live how they want. Now, this, I'm going to show you now just a little handful of videos of what's happening in the mosques and how, not just in the mosques, but in the streets of the UK. Now, for me, a lot of this stuff is pretty bad. And so I need you to understand that this is only a small smidgen of what I've found. Well, first of all, let's hear this chap talking.
No integration, no multiculturalism, no diversity, no tolerance. I got my own deen, you got your own deen. You got your democracy, we got our own sharia. You got your own free mixing, we got our own nikah. Own cheating within the marketplace, your own credit cards. We know we got our own economic system. We got our own foreign policy. We got our own deen. Very simple. No integration, no multiculturalism, no diversity, no tolerance. I got my own deen, you got your own deen. You got your democracy, we got our own sharia. You got your own free mixing, we got our own nikah. Own cheating within the marketplace, your own credit cards. We know we got our own economic system. We got our own foreign policy. We got our own deen. Very simple. No integration.
No integration. We've got our own foreign policy. We've got our own laws. But you can't say that because you live in a country that you've been invited to live in. And how can you have your own laws in a country that whatever? If I went to live in Pakistan, I would follow the law of Pakistan religiously. That sounds daft, but truly, because I'm a guest, as I am, in the country that I live in now. I live in Spain, and there's lots of things that I don't like. For example, I don't like bullfighting. I think it's a bit barbaric. But even so, it's not for me to say, because that's how it is in Spain. And I follow the law in accordance to this country of which I'm living in. And I live very well because I follow the law, no problem. As far as religion, I could be any religion I want here in Spain too. I mean, it's mainstream Catholic country, but you can be what you want. There's many Moroccan people that have been here for eons that live here. They have mosques and they get on, and they seem to. I don't know if they. Even so, I don't think they integrate as much as they can. But I've never found one of them that's been ever unpleasant to me. And the areas where they live, because they have their little areas too, you don't feel bad walking through there, or because they're nice people. But that's not how it is and how it's getting in the rest of Europe. For example, we have freedom of speech. Now, we don't anymore because Mr. Keir Starmer says if you say something bad about these people who must be protected, you'll go to prison. But they are out on the streets preaching hatred, saying things that are totally against what we all stand for. And here's an example of somebody from excuse how I got these clips because they're very difficult because they're hard to get hold of. They're hard to watch, but it's hard to download them. So anyway, have a look at this one.
Trust you, I don't have to hate you as well.
So the point is you won't have a conversation with me because I'm a Christian.
No, I won't believe anything you say because you're a liar. And you're a Christian as well. I hate you for the sake of Allah.
You hate me for the sake of Allah.
I hate you for the sake of Allah.
All right.
I hate you for the sake of Allah. Every Christian, I hate you all for the sake of Allah. Any Jew, any Christian, I hate you all for the sake of Allah.
He hates me for the sake of Allah.
You hate these and the other.
Would you kill me if you get a chance?
If we're in war, I would chop your head off.
Yeah, Allah guides you.
If we're fighting in war, am I supposed to let him kill me? I said if we are.
No, let's ask this again. Do you hate me?
Yes, I hate you for the sake of Allah.
Who taught you to hate me?
Islam did.
Now, that's just an example of one boy speaking of. I mean, he's a young boy. He's hardly out in nappies, and he's on about, I would chop your head off, I hate you, and all this. Now, where did he get that from? He says he got it from Islam. Now, he got it from the mosques with these radical preachers that are going around. And it's not right, because that boy is the equivalent to somebody who's standing on the street saying, I hate all Muslims and I'm going to chop them up and blah, blah. If you said that about a Muslim, you would very quickly get arrested. And I don't understand why people and that is only one. On Speaker's Corner, some of the things I was hearing, I listened to quite a lot of people there. and the Christians there are outnumbered, and there's all sorts of weird people as well. But basically, he's allowed to say that because he's Speaker's Corner. But is he allowed to have them thoughts and think that way and live in this country? He's probably born in this country. I don't know. He looks young. How can he hate the country that asked him, his parents, to bring him up, put him through education, takes care of his medical health? Everything that he has to have, he has. And yet he hates these people so much. But he lives here. Why does he live here? Go to a Muslim country. You'll be so happy. Go there. Enjoy yourself. And just to show you that it's not young boys, this is, again, on the streets of the UK, just have a listen to what this man is saying. And this particular strain of talk, this way of how we feel about the West, doesn't just, like I say, it doesn't just stem from the very young who'll probably soften the head and go and follow all these radical preachers. But have a listen to this.
The reason why we are here, because we are Muslim. Innamal mu'minuna ikhwa. Those brothers in Philistine, they're our brothers. That's our blood. Our war is one. Our deen is one. Our Rasul is one. The solution, very simple. Jihad fi sabilillah. We have armies. We have tanks. We have soldiers. What are they waiting for? Oh, if this goes out to the Muslim armies, what are you waiting for? Jihad is responsibility on you. Wipe out that Zionist entity. How dare they occupy Al-Aqsa? How dare they? How dare they? And they've got no honor in you. The Muslim youth here, we, the Muslims in the West, we are with you. We make dua for you. Make jihad fi sabilillah. Remove the Zionists. You have these armies and tanks. What for? Remove them, and we'll make dua for you, inshallah, very soon. Very soon you will see this. You will see this Ummah's response very soon when we remove these dictators, these tyrants, and we replace another Hazrat Umar, and we will send you another Salahuddin, and you Zionist entity will be no more. We don't fear anyone but Allah. We don't fear the United Nations, British government. We don't give a damn. We only fear Allah. Jihad, fi sabilillah, by the armies. I hope you know, brothers broadcaster.
It made me laugh at the end where he said, I hope you're not a British broadcaster. Well, I thought he wasn't. He was from somewhere else. But, the foolish thing, he put it on, I think that was off TikTok. I think. But that man wasn't a young man. He was probably been here for a very long time. And he's out there with his crowds of hoodlums, because that's all they are, flexing their nuts, saying, look at us, we can do what we want in your country anytime we like. We can take over, and we're going to. And where do they get these messages from? Where does all this hate come from? And just on the subject of hate, I was looking through what the Jews have ever done to deserve anything that they're getting, and I'll be honest with you, I can't find anything. They like to make money, they're rich, they're astute, they're nice people. I've worked with a few Jews in the past. I didn't see any difference in them and me, except they were more clever at earning money than I was. There you go. Such is life. But I'm saying, somebody tell me what the Jews have actually done wrong. They've been persecuted over centuries for doing what? Nothing. I've gone right back to the time when the Jewish people had the land of Palestine way before the name Palestine was ever invented. So it's their land where they are. So somebody could perhaps tell me what they've done. If you want to get in touch with me, by the way, all the things that you could do are at the bottom and in that little panel there, bestbeforetv@gmail.com, or on X at bestbeforet, or you can watch my television station, which is all old films and things, old TV series, and www.bestbeforetv.com. Now let's move on. So where are they getting these messages from? Where is this hate being preached so that the young people, the young Muslim kids and others are getting this radicalization in Europe? Just before I show you where they get it from, And there was a guy, a sheikh of some sort, very high up in Saudi Arabia. And I was going to get the video, but I thought, well, probably you've already seen it. And he was saying that the West will be producing more terrorists, more Islamists, radical Islamists, than anywhere else in the world. It's number one for producing the kind of people that you don't want in your country. And as I said, right at the beginning of what I was talking about, a lot of Muslims who I know, they don't really conform. They don't want this, to be honest. They want to get on with their lives. They follow their religion. They pray. They go to the mosque. But when they get them in the mosque, they're bombarding them with all this rubbish. But let's have a look at who is actually bombarding them with all this rubbish, shall we? Just watch this and you'll see what I'm talking about. If you're bombarded and preached to by these imams that tell you how you should be and how you should treat people who are non-Muslim, then you can understand why some of them get radicalized very quickly.
It is from our religion that we have to hate them for the sake of Allah.
Al-adawa, enmity and hatred, meaning we're enemies. Let's not beat around the bush. We don't love each other. We're not on the same page. We are not friends. Does that make sense? We are enemies.
The kuffar. We hate the kuffar for the sake of Allah. Because why? Because they disbelieve in Allah.
Loving the Muslims and hating the non-Muslims. Being loyal to the Muslims and not being loyal to the non-Muslims.
To keep fighting the Christians and Jews until they give jizya. So it's compelling them to give jizya. This shows you clearly that it's about forcing people to become Muslim.
It's a non-believer, a non-Muslim.
Yeah.
We hate him for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason being is because he's upon kufr.
But what is not being disputed among scholars is you cannot have a permanent peace. You cannot. This is not allowed in Islam.
The kuffar from Dar al-Harb, there can never be a permanent treaty with the kuffar because it cancels out jihad and because of the verse فَلَا تَهِنُوا وَتَدْعُوا إِلَى السَّلْمِ وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ وَاللَّهُ مَعَكُمْ وَلَن يَتِرَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ. It can't be forever. When Muslims get stronger and it's a benefit for the Muslims, they inform the enemy, this treaty has come to an end.
Said, Al-jihadu ma'adin fi ummati ila yawm al-qiyamah. The jihad is going to continue in my ummah until the day of resurrection.
So what is that saying? You go for...
Well, there you go. These are the those are quite mild. I've got ones that saying, one guy saying, oh, you can commit a murder, you can rape a baby, you can do all sorts, drink alcohol, do all the things that you shouldn't do. But as long as you pray, it's okay. But if you don't pray, you can't do them things. I just don't. I've actually got that clip. I thought, no, it's too much. But anyway, you understand by just looking at those few small clips. They're all imams who all teach in mosques. And why is it allowed? Why is it allowed that they want to become complete separatists? Now, the violence that's coming from them, the terrorism, the way that they apparently the radical Islamists take over is that they terrorize the population into submission, and that's happening because knife crime, people bombings, all the things that go on that are not right, which they do. The intimidation, the protests that they go out showing force, the no-go areas in the UK already. I mean, it's coming from there. It's because it's not. They all the Muslims that I've ever known have always been peaceful people. That their sons and daughters are becoming radicalized by what they're hearing online and in the mosques, unfortunately, in the UK too. And it's getting to the stage now where they've got even braver. I mean, there was, well, let me show you this. This is another thing that's just happened, which shows that they now believe they can get away because they believe in Islam, because they hate the Jews, for example. They can get away with things like this.
CST welcomes the sentencing of Faiz Shah, Mohammed Kamri, and Elinaj Oganubi Saim to 8 years and 1 month imprisonment each for the appalling kidnapping and assault of a Jewish Israeli music producer who was lured from London to West Wales using the pretense of a fake professional engagement. This was a shocking and deeply troubling crime that the police have confirmed also had an anti-Semitic element due to the victim's identity as an Israeli Jew. The victim suffered a terrifying ordeal in which he was kidnapped, handcuffed, seriously assaulted, and even threatened with death by the perpetrators. In her sentencing remarks, the judge confirmed that all 3 defendants were motivated by racial and religious hostility in choosing the victim. CST worked closely to support the victim and his family in the aftermath of this traumatic incident, providing extensive security advice, psychological and emotional support, and guidance through the criminal justice process. We commend the victim's bravery in seeing this case through and hope that today's sentence will bring an element of closure for him and his family.
Kidnapping Jewish people. It's not the first incident. There was another incident on the, I haven't fact-checked this, but there is something online about it. I think it was 4th of November last year in North London, where 4 men tried to kidnap an Orthodox Jew. Now, they're using the fact that Jews are nothing. I mean, they explain that they're told that Jews are like pigs, and they've got no value. Why they preach? I still don't understand what Jews have done that are bad. But you can see now that it's becoming, the radical Islamists are getting more, I could say, brave. They're coming out and they, if you say something bad about them, you're going to pay for it. And as I said to my friends, as I say, there's a couple of my friends now who won't speak to me, but most of them still do speak to me because they, similar age to me and maybe a little bit younger, and they understand that the world doesn't need this. Harmony is the thing. We need to work and live together. Follow your religion, but do not follow the religion of hate. And also, just to round things off a little bit, I want to show you a quick little clip that is possibly, if something doesn't change very soon, if Nigel Farage doesn't get off his backside and make friends with Ben Habib and the what's the other guy's name? I forgot his name, but him as well, because he had a lot of good things to say. Big egos, all 3 of them have got big egos. Stop your egoism, because you're on the same page in regards to what you feel about Britain. Ben Habib, for me, is one of the best orators and speakers for Britain. He's an amazing man, and he loves his country, and his country is this. I don't know if he's a practicing Muslim. And I'm so glad that Donald Trump won his election in America, because he's showing that you can put things right. If you don't like where you live, if you don't follow the law, and you don't want to conform, we'll send you somewhere where you can. Now, the one that the government we've got, that you've got, I don't live there anymore, is outrageous, totally outrageous. The things they're doing, they're starving poor pensioners by making them cold, and putting £400 a month to pay into the system so that they can keep more hotels open for the as I call them, the 5th column army. It's already in England. It's there waiting to be triggered. Do you think they're going to stand up and support England? They're having a laugh. Anyway, that's another story for another video maybe. But before I go, as I said, I want to show you this.
So it's official, and you have heard that I will be standing as your parliamentary candidate in the Bradford West elections Tell the world, tell them all that Muhammad Ali is here and he's not going anywhere. Bradford West will become independent, inshallah. And let's remember this, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Now, I thought when you stood for Parliament as an independent or in one of the parties, you stood for the constituents and also for the people of Great Britain, everybody, irrespective of religion or whatever else. It seems to me that these guys, they want this particular enclave to become independent. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous, isn't it, to have an independent state in the middle of the UK, but it's not so stupid really, because it's coming to that. Those guys will probably get the votes in the next election if something isn't done. And they probably will make it an Islamic enclave, but not the type of one that Muslim people really want to live in, I'll tell you that now. But they'll vote for them because they have to vote for them, because they're forced to vote. That's why that idiot Stasi Starmer wants to take care of the Muslim vote, because it's a big amount of votes. But there's only 4 million of those people or just over 4 million people who we know legally in the country. They shouldn't make a big difference to anything. And as far as politicians go, you should be, don't care where you're from, whether you're black, white, Indian, Sikh, whatever you are, you represent your constituents, all of your constituents, irrespective of their religion, or creed, or colour, or you have to say gender. There's only 2 genders anyway. I'll get beaten up for that. So do you understand what's going on in the country? I think you all do. And I don't know what the solution is, but I think the solution is to get rid of the idiot government and put somebody in place that's going to work for everybody equally. That's what it is. Now, one more thing before I go. I said that last, but no, one more thing is Sadiq Khan. He's the most divisive, horrible little man. I'm sorry I have to say it, but he is. And he is doing more damage to London than has ever been done. And he's given an open checkbook to protest against Donald Trump coming for his state visit. If he doesn't police that properly, if anything happens to Donald Trump, or if he's insulted by what goes on in London whilst he's there, that man should be taken out of that position and prosecuted for inciting violence and hatred towards the US president. Think calm. Anyway, it's the old git. He's had enough now. He's said enough now. I don't care what religion you are. Let's all live peacefully, shall we? But until the next time, stay safe. And obviously, you can watch this video on various places. You can watch it in Rumble. You can watch it on YouTube and wherever else. Oh, TokTik? No, not TokTik. The other one. What's the other one? Twitter. Yeah, on Twitter. You can watch it on there. All right. Take care, my friends. And hopefully I will see you very soon.